We are going to the last point of the program, and we have to tell you that we unfortunately have a delay from Minna. She's sick and was for 2 days ago, but really sick today, so she had to cancel her speech. And we thought it would be problematic just to find another with so little time to handle it. So we have made a choice that if you look at the program on Friday, you will see the last theme for the day is a panel debate about what to do in the Nordic conflict. Is there differences between what we think is problematic or something we can do together? So we have cancelled the last point of Friday, and then we could go home a little bit earlier. I hope you find it as a good solution. So I will welcome the panel debate. We have 4 representatives people from NORSMA, and we have Edda from Iceland. I think I can use your first name now, because a lot of you have talked to the participants, and it's Anita from Norway, and it's Anette from Sweden, and for the last we have Lena from Denmark, and I will try to facilitate the discussion and the question in a minute, but I have something to do. When I welcome you, I forgot Finland. And where are you, Finland? Yeah, so please give her a hand. I'm sorry, Finland. And we will start the panel debate with that every country will make a short presentation about themes related to children or young people struggling with math, and afterwards we will have some discussion about it. So please, Edda, will you start?
Thank you. So take away this beautiful picture. So the priorities in Iceland are not really on mathematics at the moment. I would say that the emphasis has been in our in the education system has been on reading and creating material for assessing reading levels of children, and also on language development. And the Ministry of Education, that's now called Ministry of Children and Education, is focused on well-being and creating a new model of school services. And hopefully that model of school services will include an emphasis on how to support teachers in working with mathematics in their classrooms. Teachers in schools are overall focused on learners who are learning Icelandic as a second language, because that's a growing group, and teachers are having troubles and are worried that they are not doing that very well. So that's a huge focus now. And the institute called the Directorate of Education has been developing assessment material for reading, but the work on mathematics assessment has not begun. But I assume that it is planned. That's what they were talking about when they changed the assessment system. So now we used to have national assessments in 4th, 7th, and 9th grade. And they put it online, and they had huge problems with it. So now we have no national assessments instead. And they are creating some new systems to work with. And over to Norway.
Thank you. In Norway, we have an assessment discussion going on in the field between special needs education and mathematics. When it comes to, we have a new educational law starting from the autumn 24, and the discussion has been revolving around who are to assess children struggling with math, because with the new ICD 11, dyscalculia is taken out. Dyscalculia now in ICD-11 is defined as an acquired brain damage and not as a learning difficulty. And that has created a discussion as to who are to assess those with developmental dyscalculia and learning difficulties in math. Is it the healthcare system with doctors? Because we have a support system in Norway with the education and psychology service that through the mandate of the law are to assess learning difficulties. So what's happening now is that nobody wants to take responsibility, or they don't know what to do with assessment of math. And it's part due to us not having good research-based assessment tools. And we'll see what happens when they translate ICD-11 to Norwegian, because we're still waiting on translation. That can take many decades. But what happens is, but what's fortunate, I think the politics in Norway are very preoccupied with making good infrastructure for supporting and assessment. But we don't know who's going to drive the car and who's in charge of the child's rights. So in Norway, we don't have to have a diagnosis. It's the benefit you have of education that ensures your right to special needs. So that's at least a good thing that when it comes to the assessment situation. And what we're discussing is, are we sort of too at ease with assessment when it comes to, are we sort of developing a way to fail culture? And also, I think in Norway we need to also discuss the long-term effects of having a specific learning difficulties. It's not only related to math, it's to reading and language as well, because we know that many children with, and adults and young adults with learning difficulties, they develop internalized problems due to their difficulty. And what we are seeing that's really good, I think, it's interdisciplinary collaboration that I hope will continue within the special needs education and psychology and math didactic environments.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will talk a bit then about the Swedish situation, and I will probably not display everything. We have to put this together quickly, so. Well, the situation right now in Sweden is also, as in Norway, I guess, that we have other things to work with in Sweden as well. We have also changing the national assessment system right now, so it will be digitalized, and that has been postponed many times. So then I hear about what happened for you. Maybe that's good, that it takes time. I just want to show this because this is going on as well in Sweden. I just want you to know that there's a conference coming up. We have had one on special needs in education for students in Sweden. And it's Linköping who is hosting it this time. The last time it was Växjö. And it will be online. And we will also, of course, welcome if you from other countries. But I guess the language will be we will speak Swedish. And teachers will be there as well. Because we have to do something to try to join forces for these children who struggle in mathematics in different ways. We have a new curricula in Sweden, and there are also political initiatives to put in more hours again to strengthen mathematics, but it's not decided yet, I think. We have support coming from the school agencies as well, but teachers are very occupied with many other things. So I will just briefly show you that, it's these issues about the segregated school system take a lot of space for us in Sweden right now. We have tensions between how to manage that, and at the same time we have policymakers who, for example, want to take away the first language teaching because it takes time from learning Swedish. And we know that research says that it's positive for all kinds of learning to also be able to be educated in your first language. So we have all these political tensions going on around school as well. That is important for the mathematics as well, I think. We have also teacher education being straightened up, so to speak, with goals on neurodiversity or neuro NPFs situations for children. That teachers need to know that better, because that impacts everything else in the learning situation. So this is just the teachers right now in Sweden, that they are in the middle of some political, I don't know what to call it, turmoil. And it's also about immigrant students who doesn't have papers. Maybe teachers will have to report them to be picked out from the country. So, and they have, I think they have other things to think about than mathematics right now as well. So I just want to display that. Urgent issues is that we have, of course, well-educated teachers. We work on that in mathematics a lot. As I said, the school agencies are putting a lot of effort into that. But we also need insightful policymakers who cares about research, I think, about mathematics, education and learning, and what is important and not. Yeah, so I just had some wishes, since we were asked to by you to have some wishes.
Yes.
So sometimes I've heard this mentioned many times from different researchers, the Hippocratic Oath, that we should not do harm by schooling. And I would like for us to even do good. So, but there must be a reason why, maybe you also have heard people say that sometimes. So why is that? That is something that is needed to say right now. And what is the role of mathematics in this? And what about the teaching and learning for all children and every child in mathematics? Because we have also indications and research as well showing how children right now are quite stressed in the Swedish school system. And that has increased quite dramatically. Yeah.
Thank you, Anette. Lena?
Yes, thank you. Do you have a slide? Not in my desk.
You have the power.
Oh.
Yeah, yes.
I'm not used to that.
No, it's organized.
Okay. Yeah. One of the big general issues in education in Denmark is that we should change our system in a more practical direction. It's called praksisfaglighed, more relation to praxis. And the reason is that it seems as if we need more plumbers, we need more carpenters, and we need more bachelor, and we need less masters, less university graduates. That's what many politicians and many economists see for our future. If we should do, we have lots of work to do to make the country safe towards the ecological changes that we can see is coming. So, but it's not that this relation to praxis is a competitor to academic skills. It's not only about being good using a hammer, it's also about, when we are academics, to be more creative and being able to translate methods and theory into practice and into concrete products. But it's central for the educational discussion in Denmark right now. We had very recently an expert group paid by the Ministry of Education that actually should focus on mathematics. So it is different from what you have told about the 3 other countries. We actually, as I see it, have a consensus among professionals, among politicians, that mathematics is important, and that it is really a problem that so many pupils and children and adults are not enough capable. So that's made a report about possible solution proposals to raise all students' academic level and motivation in mathematics. And it's interesting, I think, that it's not only raising academic level, but also motivation. So there's also a growing attention towards that motivation is very important, and there will be some follow-up in practice on this. So that's really a good thing. We also have got the National Center for the Development of Mathematics Teaching, who is Morten Blomhøj. He has an office here at this place. But the very, very good things about that center is that all universities are involved and all university colleges are involved. It has never been happened before about mathematics education, mathematics in school. And there's some experts group about preschool, about compulsory school, about upper secondary school, high schools, and about vocational schools. And we also have some some work going across these. And it's all about trying to give knowledge, to have a better connection between researchers and developers and teachers and practice in the school. One of the things that the ministry is involved in now, together with the center, is to make a number and algebra strategy, and there will be quite a lot of work going on in that direction in the nearest future that we are looking forward to. But we also have in Denmark still a very tough discussion going on among teachers, among politicians, among parents about inclusion. It's not solved. There are no consensus about that. And there has been not so many, but there have been some big developmental projects on how to do that in mathematics, because one thing is how is it generally discussed, but how is it actually done in mathematics? And Bent and I, we had the opportunity to make a second analysis of that wonderful project, and I think we made a good international article about that. Yes. And then we also have, this is just some of the things that are made about big interventions. There are many others. This is what I myself have been involved in. But it is about making materials so that you can find out more precisely what did your students' difficulties consist of. Yeah. And then we have about I have some ideas that I want to share with you, and my best thinking about what I actually think is possible to be done in the dyscalculia area in the nearest future is that we can document and evaluate the experiences of using test systems in practice, and also that we can document and evaluate experiences of different kinds of treatment for those very, very low performing students. So, and we also talk about how can we make also compensational tools and we also talk very much about, and that although the research area are still really much expanding and there are not there are different hypotheses, then it is very important for us to collaborate nationally and internationally on that subject.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think instead of starting a discussion between you, I will ask the audience if there are any questions. And I need Tina maybe to help with a microphone if someone have a question to the four participators in our panel debate. Don't yell. Yes, there are someone.
They could also just add, just to add things.
Yeah, add.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to know how it is in each of the Nordic countries in terms of do you have an authorized test which can be used to find children with dyscalculia?
Yes, who will start? Edda?
So we don't have, we have an old test that was created 97, 98 and built on I think an American test, and it was translated and made for use in Iceland. And schools are still using parts of it, I think, in third grade. Like there's a pamphlet that you put in a whole grade to find the children that need assistance. But this is very out of, I think it's kind of outdated because it doesn't follow what they have been actually learning in the classes up till then, so it doesn't fit in together. So that's why I think we desperately need the new assessment things.
No, we don't have a diagnostic tool. I think it relies quite heavily on each teacher, psychologist, special needs educator to use their competence in math development and being able to sort of know what hallmarks for dyscalculia there are, and then they sort of put together a test battery. So we don't have a standardized and research-based tool available in Norway.
And do you see a need for such a...
Yes, it is a need for that. It is and it's a prominent need, I think.
Anette?
Yeah, almost. Anette.
Yeah, Anette.
I thought you said Helena because we do a lot of research together.
Anette.
Well,
I tried.
Well, I'm not the right person to answer what kind of diagnostic materials there are on dyscalculia, but I mean in schools, teachers do what you explained to find out they know about mathematics development, and they have screening tests. Sometimes they have put things together themselves as well. Like the special education teachers in mathematics have provided support for the teachers in the classrooms to identify these children early. But it depends on if your question is more about the dyscalculia diagnosis. Because then we have an expert in the room. Are you here still? Don't try to hide. No. Yeah, because you work with those kinds of sorry for calling you out, but I know that you do, so.
Okay, so I work as a speech therapist at Danderyds sjukhus, where we meet about 500 students and adults every year, where the question is whether they have dyscalculia or not. And it is a quite difficult examination because it requires both information from the individual who we meet and from teachers they see at school and maybe from other assessments, so that anamnestic information together with a test battery assessing both what we call domain specific and domain general correlates of dyscalculia. So, and the diagnostic sometimes can be quite easy, but many times very challenging. So that was a few words. I don't know if it answers the
Thank
question.
you so
Yes.
much for answering that. But there's not a general test in Sweden that everyone uses, right?
No,
So
that's correct.
the psychologists on schools, for example, they don't have access to a certain test, and we always know that this is what we do if we want to identify dyscalculia.
That's correct.
So in one way, that's another answer. And I think this morning's keynote was, I loved it. I enjoyed it so much because it also explained a lot to me, who is not into that field of research. And it's really complicated, of course. Yeah, but thank you for the question.
Lena, will you have a comment?
Yes, we also in Denmark have some in the medical area at the hospitals, doctors they are giving that diagnose. So they have and they use some specific tools. And after 2013 conference, and I must now I'd make a small parenthesis, because over there we have some left of the book we made just after the ALM7, and you are very welcome to take them. There are also a wonderful plenary written there by Maria. But after that, the Danish Ministry of Education decided that they wanted to have a national test of dyscalculia. That is, there are two ways to go. Either you have an official governmental test, or you have 20 different private tests. And I also know from Sweden that many people there are diagnosed with dyscalculia, and also in Denmark and in other countries. But it's just that it is private consultants that make that, and it could be very good. But the problem is that those private consultants, they are not obliged to put the data available for everyone, for the public, for further research. So that is of course I want to contribute to a national test of dyscalculia in Denmark, because I think it would be a good thing for parents and for children and for teachers, but also because the data, the knowledge we could get from it would be very worthful for the whole humanity. Okay.
Thank you, Lena. Has anyone? What about Finland? Yeah, dear Marie, can you?
Yes, I'm not sure we have this kind of test, but we have this called FUNA test, which I informed you earlier, but it's in the research process, so it's not open for every teacher. So only those of who had a few municipalities in Finland which have contract with us. So, but I'm not sure if the student do our FUNA test for dyscalculia. I'm not sure if there's still if it's still like you have a dyscalculia, or it's not that simple, as you know.
Thank you, Finland.
Thank you.
Marie, you want to say something?
Yes, thank you. For me, there are different points. The first point is the performance scale. It's important to know whether the child is performing as expected according to the school, or just really below the achievement expectation. So already the teacher can see if one of the child in the classroom is really behind relative to the others. But you could also have like a general assessment for the whole country, where the norms is not just the class, but the full a representative sample of the country. Then a second kind of test is the profile of numerical skills. So we know that this child is in difficulty in math, and we want to see what are the different numerical processes and establish a profile of numerical strengths and weakness of these children. That's another type of tools. And then after, well, this type of tools, the aim is to detect what should be the priority when we want to intervene with that child. And then what do we next? So this is the purpose of this profile. And then after, for me, for that, you need a clinician that would be able to establish, is it a dyscalculia? Because the clinician is someone who can take time to do a real anamnestic work to assess the emotional domain, like maybe this child is depressed, maybe he has some anxiety, maybe he has some problem in his house currently. And also the cognitive profile of the child. Maybe it's not a child who has specific math learning disability, maybe he has a poor IQ and is weak in everything that requires reasoning. Maybe he has visual spatial difficulties, so that's why in some areas of the numerical domain he's weak and in other he is good. And to also measure working memory, maybe he is not able to solve mental calculation because he has low working memory, but he can do something else. He can read numbers but not write them, because if I hear 379, it's so long that I have forgotten and I cannot write it down. And for me, that last part, it requires someone who has really good knowledge in the cognitive domain and in the emotional, psychological domain. And this person has to keep secrets of something because he's a clinician, so you have the privacy of the clinical rendezvous. But you probably don't need the diagnostic of dyscalculia to intervene. No matter the source of the problem, if a child is in difficulty, you can still start intervening. But for me, these are 3 different steps.
Thank you, Mary. I think was Morten have something? Once again.
Then I have a follow-up question, or maybe even a suggestion. So it seems to me that it could be an obvious case for Nordic collaboration to really try to communicate, recommend what to do on a national level in terms of handling this situation with dyscalculia with regard to what is known from research, as we have heard from Maria and others, of course. And I think that would be very relevant and interesting, taking into account the situations that we have in all the Nordic countries, it seems. So, yeah. But I don't know how to do, who should do it. But it's
is there comments for the panel? You can just, yes.
But I was going to ask other Nordic countries, if I may ask as well, because it also depends on how the educational system is rigged. What enables help? For instance, in Norway, you don't need a diagnosis to get special needs education. It's how you benefit from the ordinary education. But in some other countries, having a diagnosis or labeling a difficulty is really important because it's a gatekeeper to systematic help.
Other comments? Okay, Lena, you watch?
I think it's a very good idea because we need all the knowledge we can get, all the experiences we can get, and we could also talk about making experiments so that we can get a bigger number of students involved in the experiments. But I also think that we should be careful about thinking that in few years we can have a clear cut. We can know what we wish to know. I think we have to go on several legs. We have to try to make this better test, but we also have to try out in practice and get to learn more from actual students and teachers. And one thing I like very much with what the Danish Ministry of Education says on their website is that they are not interested in just labeling somebody. What does it help to know I am this, I'm this, I'm this, if nobody are interested in how can we support them? Yeah. And we don't need to have a national right to do that, but we can. I think at least in Denmark there is a consensus about this being a very important area, and I think it's possible also to ask the private foundations of helping to give finance to try many things out. I think so.
Thank you very much. I see time is running, but I would like to ask you if you should choose among a lot of questions about children and youth struggling with math, and you should choose only one. Could you do it, and could we maybe agree about that one or two? Two, yeah. The number two is better. One or two question who is very important. Could we maybe find the same question for common collaboration? Edda, will you start if you should choose? I know it's hard, but if you should say one or two questions who is very important for you in Iceland.
Yeah, regarding children with mathematics difficulties. Yeah.
Closer to the microphone, I think.
Sorry. Yeah, so my questions would be mainly how can we support teachers to work with diverse groups of students so that they move away from teaching books to teaching about bringing the what do you say, like abilities, like the curriculum states that you should learn and think of that first, and then the tools that you can use. How can we get them to that level? Because I know many teachers, it's their safe thing to have the book, and often the books are not good enough. So you have children that are falling off and not keeping up with what's going on. So I think for me it's about strengthening teacher education and their understanding of how they can understand the thinking that's going on in children's heads.
Okay, thank you. And Norway? The Norway delegation?
What she said,
I think the same as Edda.
I would really like, I don't know if it's a question, it's a wish or request to sort of see the Nordic countries coming together to sort of collaborate with the interplay between interventions and screening tools to sort of have a continuous run on which children needs continuous support, because those children are there who need support throughout the school system, to maybe sort of how to collaborate both through the different countries, but the different disciplines, to put our heads together. And so I think that's one of the wishes I have, to see the connection between assessment and interventions, because they are, in my opinion, connected.
Anette?
Yeah, this was a really challenging task, but well, what if mathematics was something to enjoy for every child? What if it's not about struggling, and also for the teachers? if it's something to enjoy, and how can we support that? I don't have a proper question even, but I know that I enjoy mathematics, and many children do, and teachers as well. There's some kind of fear built into the subject, and this is like a private reflection. I went to the gymnasium with my daughter. She's interested in either the program with the most mathematics in it, because she's really good, likes it and enjoys it, but also the aesthetic program. When we went to the aesthetic program, that's with the arts and the music and those things, they talked about mathematics as something enjoyable, as you can also add more mathematics, and that's really great. That's how they presented it. When we went to the program with the high mathematic levels in it, they tried to explain that mathematics is not that hard, that you don't have to be afraid to start this program because it's not that hard. So I was like, well, what happened here? So I have many, I don't understand why mathematics cannot be just for fun. And that more students and children should be able to experience that. And we have teachers who never have or have very few students with mathematics difficulties. So what are they already doing? Maybe we don't need to find out interventions, and so we have teachers who are like, they seldom have students who struggle because they are just one of their students, and they find some way forward. What are they doing, those teachers? They probably enjoy mathematics as well. So, yeah.
Lena?
Yeah, it's really a difficult question.
Yes.
I think I have to say two things. One is that I think we should do everything we can to escape a certain threat. I think it's very good that we talk about small children and that we talk about number sense and so on. But we must be aware that we also talk about that because that is the most easy thing to talk about and to investigate. I'm afraid the threat that I'm thinking about is that we then maybe deny access to geometry, to all the humor, all the joy you can get from geometry. And all the joy you can get from logic and from having funny problem-solving skills and so on. So that's part of it. But if my hope is that fewer students of all ages feel that they are not welcome in mathematics classrooms. I would not dare to say that all students should feel welcomed and appreciated and feel that everything is meaningful. But if we could have just a smaller goal to try to reach, that we just should have fewer students than we have now that feel that it's not meaningful and feel that they are not understood. And yes.
Thank you very much. Maybe there should be a question from you. Last questions? You seem a little bit tired. No, that's all right. Yes.
I don't know, have a last question or just a thought.
Yeah.
That maybe there's no discalculation, but maybe only bad teachers then, if we're talking about, oh yeah, that's a big, issue. But it was just what you were talking about in Sweden and Denmark, was talking about, yes, this could be that the joy of math. And where does it come from? It comes from the teachers. Of course, there's people who have these difficulties of math for sure, but could we also have that, as you said, the leg of walking? Could there be a focus on that also?
Comments from the panel? Yes, Lena?
Yeah. No, I would just remind you that you're very welcome to take one of those as long as there is some left. But then, now we go to a more humorous part of the conference, or what?
No, I think you maybe had a comment about the teacher.
I can comment quite quickly. I think one of my main concerns isn't necessarily that people don't. I hope everybody enjoys math, but I'm more concerned about all those kids we don't identify, who go around with unidentified difficulties, who really struggle due to that. And we see disproportionate number of inmates with learning difficulties. They have been in schools at some times. So I would like to advocate sort of that we need to find these children, because labeling can be comforting in the sense that, okay, there's a reason why I struggle. So maybe you can enjoy math more also, if you know, okay, these things are difficult for me, but I can enjoy geometry, Lena, even though I struggle with retrieving number facts. Because those two things, they don't necessarily kill each other, sort of. Yeah.
But I hear the question also, does the Danish, Norwegian, Iceland, Swedish math teacher have the competences to handle the problem? Anette?
And teachers are also pushed in our school system, so that's also a reminder, because it might not be that they are bad teachers, maybe they don't have time, maybe they lack resources or support to do things a way that they know they could do. Maybe they have also the knowledge, but they cannot make it happen for some reason. And I also actually think that, well, maybe mathematics is not the most important thing in the world. Maybe maybe it's dancing, so maybe it's not a big deal if someone chooses to not engage in mathematics. Yeah, he said it.
Yes, I agree with you. I think, mathematics is important, but I think that teachers are doing a really good job. They're under a lot of pressure, and they are, doing incredible things every day. And what I've seen to teachers, at least, I think it's more about what do we do in teacher education? What is the system around teachers? How does it support them to do their job? And how does it help them to understand, how children are thinking and so on? And I heard about this system here in Denmark where you have like consulants or advisors.
Kind of advisors.
Yeah, for mathematics. I think that's a really good system to have. So you can have someone to bring your problems to, and then you can be helped to sort it out yourself, not remove the child from the situation, but figure out how can we do it in the classroom, and the teacher gets empowered and learns more by himself as well, with the help.
Yes, I think we will thank the panel, and please give them a hand.